everyone, this is Tanya with Riley and Company. Thank you for joining me today. We are going to make this adorable card for the Stamp and Scrapbook Expo Mega Make and Take. This is what it looks like, but wait, there's more. It's an easel card and a birthday card. Super fun to make. If you bought the kit ahead of time from Stamp and Scrapbook Expo, this is what you will have. I will show you what is in it. If you didn't buy the kit ahead of time, that's fine. Whoops, I just tore it up. That's fine too, because you may already have the pieces to make it at home, and you may want to do it on your own and kind of change it a little bit. So it's all good, but I'm going to show you what is in your kit. So you've got this in your kit. Yes, you have a free brand new dress up Raccoon and Fox stamp sets. You have your little pieces. Here are your very detailed instructions in case you get behind. I've listed all the Copics that I've used and all the stamp sets that I've used. You have all of your pieces pre-stamped and pre-cut for you, and all of the background pieces. And you also have this little green card. And this little green card has our website and our Facebook page, our fan group, which is so much fun. Everybody shares their creativity on the fan page, and our YouTube. We have more videos going up every single week. You will love it. So that is what is in your kits. And oops. And your saying. And so now we are going to get started. Now this video does have a lot of coloring in it, and I will show you some techniques. The stamp set that we start with, that is the focal points of this card, is the Dress Up Jeep set. I believe it's called Safari, the Dress Up Safari sets, and it has this Jeep. Now, the Dress Up sets, just in case you don't know, Riley has his own dress up line, and it's like paper dolls, but for a really cute moose and a really, really cute cow and a really cute raccoon and fox combo. Okay, these are just what turns it into a raccoon. And if you noticed our release yesterday, we have a brand new giraffe, and I'm so excited to show you guys. Brand new giraffe that all of the clothes will fit, and there's 28 sets to go with them. So today we are going to use the raccoon, a couple of Riley's friends, and I will tell you the sets as we go along. So to start with, let's set all of our colored pieces aside, coloring pieces aside, I'm sorry, and we're going to work just on the base. We're just going to attach the back and the grass, okay? Now I'm going to use my trusty zip dry. You guys know, if you've seen me before, how much I love zip dry, and I will show you why. Zip dry is like rubber cement in a bottle, and you just put it along the edge. Now, if I go to all this trouble to make a card this adorable, I certainly do not want my lines of my card messed up. I do not want my borders looking like this, right? Zip dry lets you move it while it's on the page. If it's stuck down like that with double stick tape, you would either, and you had to take it off and realign it, you would either ruin the top piece or you would ruin the bottom piece, and you'd have to cut another piece, and that drives me crazy. But what if you accidentally got it upside down, which I kind of think I might have, but maybe not? Zip dry lets you just remove it. If you want to take all the glue off, all you have to do is rub it. It comes right off, and it does not ruin your paper. So it lets you reposition it again. The second time around, it's not going to let you move it as easy, but it will let you take it off and reposition it. And that is upside down. So we're going to go back the right way. And I'm just going to put this on there. And then once it locks down for you. So it's very, very durable too. I absolutely love this glue. Now, the next thing that we have that we are going to put in place is this amazing piece of grass. And this die that we die cut for you. You don't have to cut it. But this die is actually a Karen Burniston die. And it is called Slim Nature's Edges. And it comes with grass and and a solid line and something else that I can't remember, but this is a fabulous dye. We are just going to put it along the bottom of the yellow. And with your zip dry, see, it lets you move it once it's down and you get it on absolutely perfectly. I love zip dry. That's on our website. You can buy it. I will warn you, it's not a cheap glue. It's not very expensive. I mean, it's not expensive as far as glues go either, but take it easy on the glue. Just go around the edges. Okay, that's all you have to do. You don't have to do this like you would do with traditional glues, and it won't warp your paper either. So now you should have pieces that look like this. Okay, we are going to set those aside for a second, and we're going to go to your solid card piece that you have in your kits. Or if you are at home, this is an 8" by 9" piece of paper, 9 this way and 8 this way, and you simply fold it in half horizontally. Then to make the easel card, we are going to take, and you can do this manually too by hand, but if you have a scoring tool, you can do that as well. I have just scored it in half. I've scored it at 2 inches. I apologize. I've scored it at 2 inches. Okay, so it's going to sit like this, right? So this is 4 inches. I've scored it at 2, right? And that's how it's going to sit when we're done. We're going to set this aside as well. And now we are going to go to our coloring pieces. So you should have your Jeep, which we're going to set aside for a sec. You should have Felix, the cat. You should also have a fox. And you should have my little buddy Tucker. This is actually my dog, believe it or not. And you should have 2 flowers. You should have a mushroom. You should have a little snail. And you should have 2 tulips. All right, so this is where we're going to get started. Now, let's start with the flowers. So I use Copics almost exclusively, except I use alcohol markers exclusively, I guess I should say, because I like how they blend. There's a lot of different alcohol markers on the market, of course. So I tend to use Copic because that's what I was certified in and that's what I have. But there are a lot of different lines out there, and I encourage you to try them. A lot of people are scared of alcohol markers. Please don't be. The key to alcohol markers is making sure that you have the right ink for the right pen and a very smooth cardstock. Okay, I use a basic brand called Mohawk for my cardstock. I believe it's 90 pound or 100 pound. You can use Nina as well. Alcohol markers need a dye-based ink. So when we stamp our images, use any ink that's dye-based. I use Memento. Okay. So it's dye or water-based, and these are alcohol-based, and that way they won't blend and mix into each other. So we're going to start with a YG23. It's just a light green, and I'm going to color all my green spots, okay? So I'm just going to come down and just add some color. And I always like to get the outside lines, all right? Now, if you notice in this, I have a little bit of yellow in some of mine, in the flowers, because, you know, all stems aren't the same color. So I'm just going to pull up some color randomly, just random. You always want to get it underneath because it's going to be the darkest underneath a little piece of flower. So I think that's all of our green. Then I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab my 𝐲𝐢𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐞, my yellow. And I'm just going to fill those in, just random. It really is just random. Okay, and I'm going to cover most of it. Then I'm going to come back in with my G14, which is a green, not a yellow green. And I'm going to do a little bit of shadows under the leaves. Okay. Just like that, easy peasy. And some on the stem. And I'm not covering it all. I'm really just going random. Very simple, easy. So we are going to do a pink tulip and an orange tulip. So I'm going to grab my RV10, kind of a staple for a color, and I'm going to cover the whole thing. All right, and I'm going to let that set a second, and I'm going to grab my orange, which is 𝐲𝐢𝐭𝐡. And I'm just going to do that as well. Now, when you shade with Copics, you don't have to have two markers to get a good shading. So let me show you what I mean. I'm using the exact same marker, RV10, and I'm going back into the center and a little on the bottom. And you can see it picks up color. It's really fun. You can generally do this 2 to 3 times to get a little darker color than what you started with. So you don't have to have a lot of them to begin with. That's what I really like. And I'm going to do the same thing with my orange, and it's just going to give me a little bit of shadow, which is exactly what I want. And we are done with our tulips. And we're going to set those aside. And I just have issues this morning picking things up. Not sure why. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to do, since we're doing orange, we are going to do the center of one of our flowers. All right, and we're going to do the spots on our little mushroom. Now the flowers in the mushroom is out of the Dress Up Gnome sets. Okay. And the tulips were out of the spring sets. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to grab the yellow we used before. And I am just going to fill in the space. There you go. It's that simple, really it is. And then I'm just going to do the petals of my flowers, and I'm going to go off the edge so I get all of the white space. All right. And let's see, I do believe we're going to grab a blue color. And you've got several blues in your arsenal, okay, because the Jeep is blue. So I think I'm just going to grab maybe B02. And I always have a spare piece of scrap paper with me. And that's because I always test my colors before I put them on. So if you can see this, I just run, is that the color I want? Yeah, sure. So I'm just going to do the outside colors on that. Okay. And that's as easy as it is. We need to do a yellow center, and then we are done. Now, I want a little bit of shading inside. And so I'm just going to come around the center. Just like that. You can get your shading and you can color beautifully without going to a whole lot of work. And I hear so many people go, oh, I can't color that good. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And coloring is very relaxing. Just be as creative as you want to be. Now to add a little bit more shadow to the mushroom underneath, right? I'm just going to add a little bit of color and just a touch. Another key to shading is knowing where your light source is coming from. So if it's, that an item that sits under something else is going to have a shadow, right? So this little top sits on top of the base, correct? So there is going to be a little shadow under there. And that's how you do that. This is going to sit on top of the stem, so you know there's going to be a shadow and there's going to be some highlights on the outside. So it's really super simple, and we'll get to the shading a bit more when we get to the Jeep, because there is quite a bit of it on there, and we'll get to the points of where you want to imagine your light source coming from. So now let's just go ahead and tackle our balloons. And we're going to do one orange, and we're just going to fill the whole thing in, just like that. Another little tip. Copic markers work best if you blend them in a circle. I'm going to take our yellow and do the next one. I usually do an outline, and then I come back in. Okay, and then I'm going to grab a light green, my 𝐲𝐿23 that we used on the flowers. See, it's a whole lot easier to do these if they're cut out and you can go off the edge, right? Alrighty. So there are our balloons. And to give just a little bit of shadow, I'm just going to come back in, and we're imagining the light coming from the top, right? So there's a shadow up here. There's a shadow down here, but the lightest part is up here. So we're just going to bring our shadows on the bottom corner. And it's the same marker that we used before. And it's just going to give us a little bit of a shadow. And another fun trick that you can use to highlight a shadow and a sunny spot is a white pen. I love these Jelly Roll pens. Love them, love them. Again, another item that you can get at KarenBerniston.com too. Do a little mark up here. Just a very simple little mark, and it's going to highlight where your light is. Super easy. Can everybody see that? These I think are $1.99. They're so amazing. I have them everywhere because I just love using the white pens, and we'll use a bit more on the Jeep and stuff too. See, we're almost there. We're almost to the Jeep. This is really a very easy card. It looks very difficult, but it's really not. Now we'll save the snail for later. Felix is our little guy, and we are just going to use orange on Felix. That's all. He's an orange cat. He's a ginger cat. We actually just got, and again, I'm just coming in and I'm doing all of it, except of course his little nose and his mouth and his eyes. Okay, and just go around all of them, and then you can just be as messy as you want. And you make sure you get all the white space. Okay, now we're going to take him, and we want to do some shadows with him, of course. But keep in mind that most of his feet and everything are behind there. So we're just going to do the shadow on his neck and down his body a little bit. This arm's hidden, so we don't need to worry about that. So there's a little on his face and, of course, his ears. You can do his ears pink if you choose. So I'm going to grab my RV10 again and do his nose. Now, on eyeballs, I love to use B00 on eyeballs because it makes them pop out. Eyes aren't always white. So if you just add a little bit of blue, it just makes them stand out. Another tip with this little guy, googly eyes are really super fun on him. Now we're going to do Tucker, which is this little guy. And I am going to literally do, so all we're going to see is above, right? So I'm just going to do this. All right, I'm going to get everything but his eyes and his nose. And I know I said in a circle, I always lay down the color and then come back in and do my circles. Okay? And yes, it's going to feel weird not coloring the whole thing. If you want to color the whole thing, please feel free. You can do that. All right, so I've got that. I'm going to let it set for just a second, and I'm going to use the same blue and come in and just do some little low lights on his eye. And I'm going to take my solid black, which is 100, and I'm going to do his nose. All right, now we're going to use the same marker, okay? And we're just going to come in on his chin and under his ear and on this, that, and probably a little part between his eyes. And there you have it. That's as easy as it gets. And finally, we're going to go with our raccoon, and he is just as simple. And to do him, I use 3 grays because he's got a lot of different pieces parts. We're not going to worry about his belly today. So what I usually do is I do this white spot in here with just a very light C1. Okay. Just gonna put that in there. Now we don't really need to go that low on him, but that's okay. It's kind of habit. And that's the color I use for just his inside pieces. Now I'm going to take my C3, okay, and I'm just going to come along. Oop, I forgot his nose. There we go. Forgot his nose. So now I'm going to come back in and just do the lines and do a little underneath shading right in here. Because his nose is going to create the shadows, right? Then I'm going to come in his ears and add a little bit more. And then I'm going to take my C3 and go do the top. Okay. And that's the base of him. And we also want to come in into the top part of his body, not all of it, just the top part. And if you want his tail sticking out the back, you can make stripes. I just cut it off. He's tailless. And then finally, I'm going to take my C7 and I am going to come in and do just the stripes on his face. Now you can do this. If you have the stamp set, you are not going to need to color this in later. You will with this because it is a pre-stamped image. But to get these black little spots on the set, you just have these. Okay, and you just literally line them up and stamp them and line it up and stamp it. And that turns your little fox into a raccoon. We're going to add the blue for his eyes. Just a little bit. We're going to come back in with the pink for his mouth. All right, now I'm going to take my C3 again, and I'm just going to bring up a few shadows on the side. See how that does that? Same marker we used before, it just gives you more shadows. And underneath his little head. And we're ready to go on him too. Okay, that is so simple. Now we have everything done except the Jeep. And this Jeep is so much fun. It looks very daunting. And it's really not, I promise you. If you look at it from a color perspective, the light is coming from this way, right? So the light is on the heads, coming from that way. It's coming this way. So that's what we're going to start with. So the lightest colors are going to be up here. Now, as I mentioned, this set is from the Safari set. And I absolutely love how the die cuts on this because it cuts out this entire edge just like this. So you can put anything in here. And our new giraffe, oh, just wait. You're going to love it. But I can take any image that I have and I can just, well, I'm trying to find one here while I'm talking to you. Oh, look. The dress up police, Riley. You can stick him in there. You can stick, let's see. You can stick Bert in there. Smiling Bert. Cat driving a Jeep. Okay. So now let's hop to it. The colors that I used were 4 different blues. And normally I don't use that many colors in a make and take, but this car or this Jeep needs that many colors. So we're just going to start with the lightest color that we have, okay, which is our B02. And I'm just going to go along the top here. And I like to lay down, when I'm doing this type of coloring, I like to lay down a base. All right, so I'm going to go over everything that's blue with this marker, if it'll let me, because it's acting kind of dry. All right, I'm just going to go over everything. And the way that we color isn't really going to be that important because most of it is going to be colored over. All right. So we're just getting the pieces parts right now. Okay. Just like that. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm just laying some color up on the top. All right. So now I'm going to come in with my next color. And here's a little tip. Just because this looks lighter than that or this looks lighter than that, you never really know. So this is why I always try my colors first, and you can write down what they are. So this is B06 and this is B16. And just because it's a lower number does not always mean that it is a lighter number. Okay, so this B18. So we're going to save him for last. So now we're going to take, it looks like this is a little lighter. So we're going to take our B06 and we're going to start at the edges and we're just going to come in. Now, the shading behind here, there's going to be a lot of shading behind there. So we want to make sure that we get that line, but we're not going to color everything. We want some of that blue to still be there, right? All right, and now we're going to come here. Now there's going to be light at the top of the Fender Wells too. So we're just going to come back over. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to leave some light up here. So everything is going to be colored on this. This is where we're going to leave our I'm going to come along and I'm going to do the whole entire thing, okay? The whole grill and everything with this. All right. I'm going to keep turning it. Hopefully I'm turning it for the line of sight so you guys can see. And it's okay when we get, I've got some in the lights. Don't worry about it. I'll fix it later. So when we get up here, I'm going to do this, but I'm going to just feather it in very lightly, just a really light touch here, okay? Really light touch. Okay, so now see where we kind of get the light on our Jeep? We're going to come back in. We had our little B00 before, right? It's a great blending tool. It's got very light color. See that? It's just going to blend it right in. Okay, and if you would like to come back with your B02, you can do that as well. And you can put that color, but make sure you do your circles so it blends pretty. All right. All right, so that's where we are, and we are going to come back to this B06. We are going to do the complete bottom underneath here. Make sure you cover your white spaces. Okay. And we are going to do the Fender Wells. We are going to try to avoid this outside line as much as we can. Not a lot, just a little bit of it. Just try not to get too much color. If you do, it's all right. You've got your white pen, right? You guys see this? Really hope you can see this. Okay, so now we've got this. Now we're going to take the same marker and we're going to go back in to where the darkest places are. And we're going to add more color again with this same marker. Okay, and we're going to do it again here. But just where the darker spots are. Because it's going to give us another deeper color or deeper shade, sorry, of the B6. And again, come in. So the very first color that you put on, this is going to get a whole new coating of it. The first color that you put on, you rarely see very much of when you're done. That's why I didn't worry about it too much. Now we're going to come in with our next darkest color, B16, and we're just going to repeat the process. But every time you put a darker color on, you're going to leave a little bit of the previous color showing, and that's what gives you the gradient levels. So on my Fender Wells, just going to do that. On this, I'm going to come in, leave a little bit. Okay. And then, of course, down here. And you can do this several times because like I said, the markers will give you a couple shades per one color. So I'm just going down in the bottom of it now. And I'm going to kind of leave the light blue alone up here. Or the lighter blue, the B06. Make sure you get down in that grill for sure because it is a darker color. And you can now see them starting to take shape. Now, this is our darkest color. So you're going to be very cautious with this color, okay? Let's start with the Fender Well. And we're going to start in the very darkest color or corner. All right. And do little baby lines and pull out. Don't be very careful with your darkest color. Under here is going, of course, to have all of it. All right, we're going to do the shading underneath the lights with the darkest color a little bit. Your very last color, less is more because you can always add to it if you need more color. So I just didn't particularly like that right there. So I am going to add a little more darker color because behind the grill would be very dark. All right, so I'm going to match it on the other side. Okay, I'll turn it around so you guys can see the other parts. We're going to do, again, we're going to do just the corners and the darkest parts. And if there ever gets to a point where you are not keeping up, feel free to pause, okay? Feel free to just pause it. Now, the hood, I'm going to do just back in here. Or I guess the top of the hood. Just down in the lines. And there we have it. So it looks a little blotchy right now, but that's okay. We're going to go back and we're going to take the color we just used. And we're just going to blend that darker color in. Okay? Not all the way out, just into the last color that we used. And we're just going to come up and just blend that in. Okay? So there's no harsh lines. Just like that. Flicking in a space like that is a really awesome thing to do. And it kind of sounds good. All right, so this is what we have now. If it were me, actually what I'm going to do, I see a little space here. If it were me, I have a trusty set of colored pencils that I use. And when I want the deepest, darkest shadows, like down in here, I get out my colored pencils and I make sure they're really super sharp. And I just draw some lines, and you will be amazed at how much you can achieve just getting a little darker shadow. Now up here, I'm just going to come back and I'm just going to shade those in so we don't have any harsh lines. Okay, and I'm going to shade this so we don't have any harsh lines. And we have our Jeep. Now the last part is very simple. We're going to go back to our grays. All right, we're going to take our C3, and this is all we're going to do for our mirror. Do the C3 as the darkest. Okay. And we're going to do our chrome right here with our C3. We're going to do the corners of our tires, but I'm going to do the whole layer so it blends really well later with my tires, with my C3. All right. And finally, the push bar. I would love to have a Jeep like this, actually. All right, so now we have our base color down, right? So I'm going to take my C3 and I'm going to go back up and give it another round, but leave this outside. Leave it outside done. Okay. Leave it done. Now I'm going to take my C1. We're going lighter this time, not darker. And I'm going to come in and I'm just going to fill in that mirror so it blends. See that? That's all we're going to do. That's it. Now let's take our C5, okay? And on the chrome, we want it to be lighter on the outside. So we're going to start where the darkest parts are and just give it a little flick. That's it. So we're completely done with the chrome over the tires. We are going to come in the bottom part of the push bar. Okay. And I'm going to do it one more time, just about half the space that I did last time. So it gives a little bit of a shade. Then you are going to take your C3 and go back and kind of touch it a little bit, just to get it to blend in nice and pretty for you. And we're done with the push bar. And all we have is the tires. And you can guess how easy that's going to be. So I am going to take my C7. This is what I'm working with. And my tip on it's really bad. And the good thing is the tips are replaceable with Copic. You would think I would have done it before, right? But no, I didn't. And the tips are replaceable and they're refillable, which I really love. And now it is really going to give me fits. So I just squish it. Squish it until it works. Because I'm going to take my C5 and come back in and blend that anyway. We're coming back. See how that makes it a messy marker? Just blends it right in. That's why I love these markers so much. I can't imagine using a water-based marker to color like this. It just wouldn't work very well. And finally, we have our black, right? We want these tires to be black. So we are going to take our black and go in to the darkest parts, which would be underneath as well. And again, less is more, okay? And we're going to do the same with the other side. And under, of course. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in with my C5, and only because my C7 is kind of dead in the water here. And I am just going to blend that down, and look at that. It blends so perfectly. And your tires are done. So now all we have to do is the lights. And if you notice, I'm going to show you something really fun. If you notice, I got a little blue inside my spaces, right? No worries. Copic has this wonderful little thing. They call it the magic eraser. It's actually a blender pen. It has no color. You can see on there, it looks like it does. I hope this one's got water. You can always tell if it's wet by doing that. And so all you do is just push that color right back out. Make sure not to get it in the color or you'll drag it back in. Okay, so I would do that normally. I'm not going to do it for this purpose because it'll take a little while. Also, your next marker will blend with it as well. So we're going to take our 𝐲𝐢 and you'll see that it'll just kind of disappear. Do the whole thing. Do both lights. If I take my yellow marker where my blue is, it'll just kind of disappear on us. It's okay. And then finally, the last thing we need to do is just add a little bit of gray. And I think I'm going to take my C3 and just come down here and just add a little bit of shadow. That's it. Okay, I'm going to do the exact same thing with the little ones as well. And we have our Jeep. We have our Jeep. We're going to do a little bit of highlight on it. Okay. So the white lines, you can do just a line and a touch, and a line and a touch, and a little bit of line and a touch, and maybe a little bit of line. I always use little dots and lines to help break it up a little bit. All right, see how fun that is? I'm going to give my yellow some. The top of the push bar, I'm going to use quite a bit. Just draw lines across, just squiggly lines. You can't go wrong. See that? And it just lightens it up a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit up here on my mirrors. And I'm going to put some down here at the corner of my tires. And we're done with that, all right? You ready to assemble? I'm ready to assemble. Get my markers out of the way. The assembly part is the easy peasy parts. All right, we're gonna take our little raccoon first in my trusty zip dry that I left open, of course. And really, this isn't gonna hurt him because he'll never know. We're just gonna kind of cut him off, right? Sorry. Now we're gonna just push his head through here. All right, and there he is. So I just turned it over, put a little bit of glue right here. All right, and I also put just a little bit of glue on the roll bar. Okay, so he's in there. And now the next thing we want to do is stick Tucker in here. And he is going to have his ear over the roll bar. So we're just going to trim up on this line. All right. And the ear will go, oopsie, he moved on me. That's okay, it's zip dry, you can move it back. Now, he will go in here, ear over the roll bar. I'll pull it out a little bit. And tuck him back in. Okay, and he's hanging out the edge, just like that. We're not going to glue his ear down yet, okay? Do not glue his, well, I guess we can. Actually, we can. So we're going to turn him over, get a little bit of glue back here on him. Oh, I had a lot of glue. Let me show you what happens when you get too much glue like this with zip dry. Watch this. It's on your hands. You can literally wipe it off and just rub it off. It comes right off. Okay, no more glue. And there you have it. Finally, we've got our poor little Felix who's scared out of his mind. And we are going to just cut off his little paws, okay? Make sure you don't lose them when you cut them off because we're going to reattach them. He is going to, I'm going to put a little bit down here because I know this is where it goes. He is going to go right in behind the other guys. Now, see, I'm going to position him just so it looks like his hand is coming up on the roll bar. And then I'm going to take, if I can get them, okay, I'm going to put a little bit of glue right there. And I'm going to put his little paws, I hope you guys can see this. I'll show it to you in a second. Right where Tucker's ears meet, see that? Like he's hanging onto the roll bar. Move it up just a little bit. And there we have it. Our Jeep is ready to go. Okay. So we're going to come back and get our card to begin with. And let's just take the front of the card. We're not going to worry about the base. All right. And let's just attach our flowers. So this flower here, and see I've got glue right here, no problem. I'm just going to rub it off, and then I can scoop my card up so you guys can see. And now all my glue is gone. I know I go on and on and on about zip dry. I wish I owned part of it, but I don't. All right, so we have our flower. We're just going to put a little bit. We're just going to stick that right there. Okay, we're going to take our other flower. We're going to put him over in the other corner. All right, then we're going to take our tulips. Put a little bit of glue on him too. And I'm going to tuck one behind the grass. And I'm going to put one in front of the grass. Okay. Our mushroom, we are going to use pop dots to put him on there. All right, I'm going to put it right over that flower stem. Now, the car, I am going to use foam tape, foam dots, same thing, just goes a little bit quicker. And I want their heads secured on here. So I'm going to just cut a little piece for Tucker, a little piece for Felix, and a little piece for the raccoon. Okay, then, of course, peel your tape off. And we're just going to sitting right down on that grass line, okay? A little bit over. Oops. Got a piece of tape in there. Now for the balloons. All right, so you're going to take all your threads and hold them together at one end. And we're just going to tie a knot. Just like that. Okay. We are going to attach them to our balloons. Uh-oh. Oh. Okay, I know we had them, folks. Didn't we have them? There they are. Whew. So we're going to put pop dots on these. So I'm just going to do my pop dots over my string. Okay. And you don't have to put the yellow with the yellow. You don't have to put the orange with the orange. None of that. So I'm just going to cut 3 pieces. This one is going to go over this, and it will hold my string down. This and that's. And I'm not pulling it real tight or straight, okay? I just want them to look like they're blowing in the wind. And I will trim off any excess with a different pair of scissors because I just used these to cut foam tape, so they're not doing much of anything else. And there's our balloons. Oh, if you have any of the foam tape sticking out over the edges, just trim it off. Okay, and then we are just going to put them over here. All right, so I can put them, depending on how long my string was, you can put them as far out as you want. So we're going to put one string in Tucker's mouth. So I think, let's see. let's take these off and put them secured down. Okay, and I'm just going to stick these up here because I have plenty of string to work with. This one is going to go in his little mouth. Now we're going to take him and put him in front of the mirror. And I'm just going to take one of the strings and attach it underneath. Or another thing that you can do is go ahead and make a little cut mark where his mouth is. And tuck it right in there. And then we're just going to glue it down, glue it back down, okay? And just play with it. Just play with it till you get it. Put a little bit of glue right there. And we're going to hold it down and it'll secure it right in place. Okay? Now is the fun part. We are going to attach this. I'm going to hold this just a second. We're going to attach this to our base. Now, since this is an easel card, it seems like forever since we talked about the easel card part, didn't it? We are going to only put glue here. All right. You can get it a little closer to the edges if you wish. And we're going to put this piece right on top of it and give ourselves a little border. All right. So align your border up. If you have glue come out, that's okay. We're going to rub it off. All right. Then that is our movement action. In one quick little step, and we will have a little stop for it. So you still have your words here. We're just going to put the words on the yellow piece. And we are going to take some foam tape. And I don't normally use this much foam tape, but on the stops for these, I do because I don't want them to move. And you do want them raised up so it creates a good stop. So I'm just going to peel this off. I'm going to bend this where I want it. And then that's where I'm going to put my sign. And it will stop right where you want it. And we're done. Now, something you can do at home that's optional. I added some crystal lacquer to their eyes and the lights and some glitter to the flowers. But look what you just did. It's absolutely stunning. What a great card. I hope everybody has a fantastic day, and don't forget to hang around. I have got some fantastic show specials on our brand new release for you coming right up. Have a great day. Hi everyone, it's Tanya with Riley & Company. Thank you for joining me for the Make and Take. That was a lot of fun. Now I'm going to take just a few minutes and show you all the goodness that was our new release yesterday. You're going to love it, and tell you about our show specials. So let me get you turned around and we'll get right to it. Hopefully I can get this hooked up without making you too dizzy. So as I mentioned, yesterday was a big day for us. It was a brand new release day, and we have got 20 new funny bones for you. We've got 2 brand new sets of dies, and I have got a really incredible special for you at the end to show you that's a new release. And I have a bunch of specials too. So hang on a second. Need a drink of coffee. So let's get started. 20 brand new funny bones. For those of you that may not know us, Riley has a line called Funny Bones, and there's about 900 of them in the line right now. Awesome little sayings for your cards and your scrapbook pages. Does running behind count as exercise? Of course it does. Yes, we're aware of how obnoxious we are when we're together. Nope, we don't care. I don't always drink beer, but when I do, wait, yes, I do. I'm torn between wanting a snack and looking like one. Cleaning is just putting stuff in less obvious places. Whoever thinks money doesn't buy happiness, transfer that to my account. And that was my bleep in case you have children in the room. Can you see the word? A friend is someone who listens to your crap, tells you it's crap, and still listens some more. I love this one. Happy birthday. You're way less wrinkly than I thought you would be by now. Not horrible. It's a great one to send to your brother, though. Question, and there's going to be a bleep in this too, just in case there's children in the room. Question, when stirring up some bleep, do you use start in a clockwise direction or is it counterclockwise? I don't need to drink coffee to be awesome, but it's more fun when I'm awesome and awake. The older you get, the better you get, unless you're a banana. Happy birthday anyway. Don't worry, be happy. No one will ever, oops, sorry about that, I'm losing them all. No one will ever be as entertained by us as us. This is fantastic, especially for all you animal lovers out there like me. Love is wet noses, slobbery kisses, and a wagging tail. Hello, 111. My glass is empty. Whiskey, the nighttime, sniffling, sneezing. How the bleep did I end up on the bathroom floor medicine? If I've learned anything in my 23 years on Earth, it's that it's okay to lie about your age. I don't have a drinking problem. I have a sophisticated wine ritual. Big difference. This is a great birthday sentiment. Late in the evening, far, far away, there was a glow beyond the horizon, and I knew deep in my heart it was your birthday cake. And finally, the last one is probably one of the funniest ones. Laughter's the best medicine, unless you have diarrhea. Anyway, we do have a special on all 20 of them. It's our Funny Bones bundle special. Let me get these out of the way. You can get, it's $130 value. You can get them at 20% off for only $104. They come all packaged, just like I showed you. Now, the next one up, last release, we introduced you to the gigglers. We have Giggling Riley, Giggling Giraffe, Giggling Cow, and our Giggling Raccoon. Everybody asked me, do you have dies for them? They were on their way, but they hadn't got here yet. So yes, guess what? All of the dies are now here for these. Now, I wanted to put these, I know a bunch of you took advantage of the bundle and got all of the Giggler stamps last time. So I wanted to offer a bundle as well for the dies in case you have all the stamps. So regularly priced, all of these would be $28 total. They are $22, which is 20% off. And just in case some of you were holding out, the Gigglers are also 15% off. So you can get a deal if you buy all of them. And I was just going to show you some cards with them because they're just so darn cute. You can use them standing up and laughing. You can use them in different windows. I'm pretty sure that my last words are going to be, are you freaking kidding me? You can, of course, put them in a very simple card, laying down laughing. You can stick them on Riley's motorcycle. Okay, the raccoon goes the opposite way, so you can put 2 or 3 of them on one card together. You can put little things in their hands, which is awesome. And even with the cow, they can be holding things. Stick them in a tree, it's a raccoon, right? So there are your Gigglers. The Giggler die bundle again is $28 regular price, but for a limited time, it's only $22. And all of the stamps are 15% off as well. Next up, we have the same type deal with our Mushroom Lane. I know there are so many of you out there that love, 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 love Mushroom Lane, and so do I. Last couple months ago, we introduced the tall clay pot stamp. We introduced the short clay pot stamp. And we introduced a brand new teapot. Again, the dies were not here, so we couldn't do the specials. They are here now. So we are doing the die bundle in case you got all 3 stamps. You can get all 3 of these at 20% off, okay, as a bundle. So it's regularly $60. You can get it for $48. Or if you would like, you can get the stamps individually at 15% off as well. All right, now finally, oh, let me show you some cards with that. I love making these into easel cards. They're great, great, great. Welcome to the neighborhood. Okay, and of course, you can stick our little gnomes on there. And of course, they're 3D. So the dies, for those of you that don't know, the dies have all the pieces in them to raise them up like this. Okay, the trick to getting this is to color the full image one time and then photocopy. Don't color it over and over and over. You don't have to. Color it one time and photocopy. It'll save you lots of time. And then just grab your dies and you'll see that this piece right here is this piece right here. Here's your windows and it just pops up. Now you do have to cut out the main piece first. Okay, the background piece. And the reason that we did that, if you added another huge piece to this, the die would not be very cost friendly. So we let you cut it out on your own if you want it completely cut out, or you can stamp it on a piece of paper and then start adding to it. And there is your Mushroom Lane dies for the release. And finally, I am so excited about this. For those of you that know about Dress Up Riley, Dress Up Riley is a stamp line we have that is like paper dolls, only it's with a really cute moose called Riley, of course. And you guys know this. There's Sophie and Riley, and he's got 28, 29 different accessory sets that go with him, okay? So you have a base set that is a moose. We also have a base set that is a cow. And we also have a base set, and I'm just pulling these out of a little hat here. We have a base set that is a fox raccoon combo, but I don't think I have any of those in my little stash. Without further ado, meet our latest dress up base sets. And it is these 2 adorable giraffes. Believe it or not, all of the dress up clothing fits him, okay? It is hilarious. So I'm just going to show you some different variations. Of course, we have his dies too. The set is a clear 4x, I believe it's 4x5 sets. Okay, I'm sorry I don't have one on a card for you, but it's a clear set. And it comes with just these 2. There is a special, of course, on the dies and the stamps for the new dress up. They're 20% off, but watch this. Here you have the 2 little giraffes in different poses, and then you can use the dress up. We're going to do a little mini fashion show here. We're going to put a little raincoat on him or her, whichever you prefer. And put some little rain boots. Is that hilarious? Is that so hilarious? Or you can put him in a kilt, right? But there's so much more. So let's take those off and let's try and make him, we'll make a little farm dress for that one and make it a her. And we'll put some little shorts or some jeans on him for him. The little farmer hats, and these are all in dress up sets. So there's his little necktie. Okay, so now you have little farm giraffes. Or this set also comes with a little tractor. Or just the basic shirt you can cut out of patterned scrapbook paper. And of course, it fits, right? And I have always wanted to do this. I wanted to have a giraffe with a little tutu. Look at that, it fits. Is that hilarious? You put a little bow in its hair, right? Here it is with a little party hat on from the birthday sets. But this has got to be my favorites. As I was playing along, all right, here are your two little giraffes. Swim trunks for one. Okay. And wait for it. A little polka dot bikini. How adorable is that? Hilarious. How cute is that? That is our brand new dress up giraffe basic sets. Also 20% off for the new release. And if all of those specials aren't enough, we have free shipping at $25. Now it's only going to be good for a couple weeks, so make sure you take note of the expiration dates, and we will see you soon. Have a fabulous week. Thanks for joining me.